Welcome to my next build video. I've been doing these as a catch-up. As you can see or have seen in my recent videos, the box truck is pretty much built. There is stuff I want to do, but it really has nothing to do with the main structure. But I'm going to be talking to you in the present while also showing you video of the past of how I made the decision to get my stove and sink and sort of what the world was like back then for me, as well as talking to you a little bit in the present tense as well. Enjoy! So two major things I picked out for the box truck really early into the process was my sink and my stove oven combo. I've been looking at the stove oven combo since I've been in vans. I'd seen people put them in vans, but I never really had a good space to put it in without it taking over the space. And I knew in the box truck I would have enough room for this little stove oven combo. Now people have pointed out this is a camp stove, and like other camp stoves, every single camp stove you've ever seen a Vanlifer use, it is advised that you only use these outside. Most people, what they do in their vans, and I am not saying anyone should do this, if you go against the manufacturer's recommendations, you're doing it at your own risk, but I've seen plenty of people use this in vans, as well as other types of camp stoves. And so I felt fairly confident that just like every other camp stove I use, if I ventilate it properly, and this is right in front of a window, as well as me having an exhaust fan right above me, I felt fairly comfortable installing it so that I could have a stove and an oven. Before we move forward, let's flip back to Dawn of the Past and have Dawn of the Past talk to us a little bit more about how some of the decisions on placement of the stove actually got made by accident. I actually had a slightly different plan, so let's just watch. You'll notice my Sirocco fan, I used to have it by my bed, and now I have it by this window that's going to be the kitchen window. Now originally I was going to do an L formation kitchen, but what happened was I actually bought my sink. It's a laundry sink. It's an all-in-one. The faucet came with it. It has a super big bowl, and I do plan to actually make it functional today. And instead of having the stove right here in this direction facing the door behind the false wall that I haven't built yet, which would have put it right under this fan, I really do like it on the wall and like the idea of keeping my middle path open. And that's one of the good things about living in the box truck while I'm doing this, is sometimes as I do things temporarily, I'm like, wait, and I'll literally just sit there for 3 hours re-envisioning what I want to do. And so I really changed my mind about this. And so like I'm adjusting my situation around it to see if it works. Now having this here, it's temporarily attached because I'm going to build up more here to make it pretty, obviously, but it's temporarily attached to the wall framing for this window, which is really cool because I can actually flip this around. Let's do this the right way. So come on down, flip it around, and boom, it's exhausting instead of bringing air in because I just turned it backwards. Ow, I just hit my hand on it. And so there's still a fan accessible here. And I do have some plans for this. Can't move it, it's already installed, but I don't know that I would have wanted it all the way over here anyway. And the journey to get my sink has its own interesting little story. I actually pre-ordered this sink from Home Depot and then headed to pick it up. But when I got it back to the box truck and began unboxing it, I was like so super excited. Like I finally had it. And it was so big, I really did want to just get it out of the box and get rid of the box so that I didn't have to hold on to the box. But I immediately noticed something seemed wrong. Something was missing. So I'm a little annoyed because, hi Mickey, not cousin Mickey. The faucet isn't in here. And one of the reasons I bought this is it was just done. All I had to do was hook it up to a water source. I didn't have to cut any holes in a cabinet. I didn't have to like prep anything for a sink to be there. I could just take it out the box, put it together, and hook it to a water source. That's why I got it. And there's no faucet in here. The whole faucet and hose system is missing, which means I have to take this whole thing back to the store, and I'm not looking forward to that just because the box is freaking huge. So unfortunately they didn't have another one, so I couldn't just swap it out for a different one. So I saw it online at another Home Depot, so I'm just going to order it at the other Home Depot and do it as a pickup, and hopefully this one won't be missing parts. Hopefully before the end of the day I'll be able to pick up the new replacement sink from the other Home Depot, and this is going to be a nice little long drive for me. There's some electrical stuff that I ordered from Amazon that I need to pick up from an Amazon locker. So on this little break that I have of a day between show commitments, I'm basically going to be running around town burning a lot of gas. And that's its own cost, along with some of these materials. I mean, they cost money. It's a little more money that I wanted to spend. I wanted to buy everything just before I was about to use it, but because I've had a number of problems with things not being available, like I had to mismatch my insulation a little more than I planned, but the insulation is behind the wall. I know what I want the stuff that I'm looking at every day as my house to look like, and so I don't want to skimp on that if I don't have to, and really have what I want at the end. So doing this driving around now, even if it is a little bit inconvenient to just hold on to it while I'm sort of waiting for the show to be up so I can really concentrate on it, is just a smarter decision. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. It was a long, exhausting day of errands, but as soon as I got the box home, I did proceed to open it and was happy to see a box for the faucet right away. And with that, I finally had the sink I had dreamed about. So I set up the drain on the sink right away, but I didn't really set it up for running water because I was just using my water jug. But I decided to go ahead and wire up and plumb up my little drop-in water pump so that I could have running water, just to have it. And for the first time since starting car life, van life, box truck life, I had running water in my home, and it was brilliant. This sink has been exactly what I wanted. Like, it has met all of my goals. I have no regrets. It did come with a a toe kick that I did not install. I have it squarely on the ground without the toe kick on it, and I've been perfectly happy with that decision. There was a point where I tried to raise it up and maybe still have a toe kick but turn it into like a drawer or something, and it just did not work out. I don't mind it at this level and height. I would like to build a cabinet around the stove, but that's another story. But on the sink itself, I've been perfectly happy with it and my decision to get it. And I love that I didn't have to build anything for it. I didn't have to cut any holes into countertops. For me, this was a buy it from the store, install it, and it worked. And I know for a lot of people, they really love that custom cabinet look, but I've sort of DIY'd this with existing cabinets, including this cabinet right here. And I actually like the look of it now. I did plan to do custom cabinets down the line. It was actually stuff I bought because I needed something and I needed it now that I don't mind that I have now. But the sink in and of itself, it's big enough for every goal I set for it and does exactly what I needed to. I wouldn't want it any smaller and I wouldn't want a different kind. I am so happy with the sink right now. If you have any questions about the sink, feel free to throw those in the comments and I'll try to address them. But let's move on to the stove. So I got this pretty early into getting the box truck. I sold my van with the existing camp stove that I've been using in it, and that's because I was already planning on getting this, and the person who was buying the van, I just wanted to give them the stove since I bought it almost brand new for it. Now this thing is a little bit beat up, just because originally I was using it on folding tables. I was trying to keep it secure while I was driving around. I was pulling it out to do some building. I was sticking it back in. So it went on kind of an adventure before it kind of settled in here. And even this isn't perfect. I honestly have it bungee corded down to what is essentially a nightstand that I got from Target. So, as previously stated, my original box truck plans did include a custom cabinet for the stove. But eventually, I just kind of had to hang that up because I just needed to start to get things in place so I could move forward. As you can see, this is before I even installed the walls. And so, what I decided to do was just get this nightstand from Target. It would bring the stove up to an appropriate height. And it was just something I could just buy and get done without having to worry about cutting separate pieces of wood, making my own drawers, and all of that. Also, you see that plaid blanket on the floor? That was my bed back then. I just rolled my sleeping bag out right on top of it and went to sleep every night. I would love to reconstruct this into a custom cabinet that actually makes it a little bit more inset looking. But for now, this has been working out fine. I've had a pretty good experience with the stove. It lights up pretty quickly. As I say that, it doesn't come on. Now, I do have one burner that's not functioning. For some reason, the ignite function isn't working. So honestly, what I do is I grab a lighter because the propane is still coming through. I turn it on, and then when I can get the lighter to work, bam, I have two working burners. So this second one did go out. I could try to get it replaced, but like I said, I've beaten the heck out of this thing. So losing one igniter hasn't been like a huge deal to me. As far as any other camp stove I've had, it's worked just as good. You know, it does a stove job, so I don't have any complaints about it. Now, there is a temperature gauge on this oven. I rarely to never ever use it. Usually, I heat up a lot of stuff. I'm going to be honest. I use this oven a lot, and I mostly use it for heating up. I've seen other people use ovens like these to, like, bake cookies and bread and stuff like that. But mostly, I haven't done that. I've just used it to heat up stuff. I haven't experienced a lot of heat on the sides. It will get warm and you certainly don't want to lean against it, but it hasn't been like so much heat that it's been a big deal, especially over here where it's not that far from the stove. I mean, from the sink. I can't even say things. So honestly, it's worked out great and I've kind of loved it. So this is less a build video, even though I do consider it part of my build diary, than a chat about the things I bought and how they've been working and sort of a little bit of background on using them. I am very happy with my kitchen choices. The fact that I have a sink and a stove and an oven, and I've never really had a permanent setup like this in any vehicle I've lived in before, has been a great advantage, and it makes me so excited to be in my own area, like cooking, even though I don't really cook. I don't know if you noticed this. That's about the length of my like cooking skills. Like, I heat up food, I make stuff, I sometimes combine stuff. Lately I've been making these wraps, and I'll usually warm them up in the oven because I like them to get a little bit melty and burrito like. Even though they're mostly filled with vegetables, they do have a little bit of cheese in there. Cheese is the only reason I'm not vegan. Like, I can give up almost everything except cheese. So yeah, that's where my kitchen is sitting. I am very happy to have a kitchen. Like, I have a kitchen, and that still shocks me that I live in a vehicle and have a kitchen, because it's definitely something that I never had before. So if you have any questions about my sink, about my stove, yes, unfortunately the shirt got bleach stained, please feel free to drop those in the comments. I'll answer them to the best of my ability. I really do like this Camp Chef stove oven. I've heard mixed reviews about it. Some people have had great experience, some people have had bad, and there's enough good that, and including my own experience, that I would totally advise getting one. If this breaks, if it ever breaks, I'm getting another one. I don't see myself living without this stove oven combo. Alright, see you in the next video. Thank you for tuning in to another video. I do have tweaks that I'm going to do to my plumbing. So as far as how I actually plumb the sink so that it could drain somewhere, and it drains into just a jug that's under the sink. But I have a particular little setup that I haven't seen a lot of people do that I'd like to show off. But I'm going to do that in a separate video, sort of when I've kind of attacked all the old build videos, because I didn't really have enough footage to get into it in this video. So I do plan to follow up more with my current plumbing setup. I just wanted to cover what I actually bought and installed in this video. So I hope you enjoyed it. As always, thank you for sticking around till the end of the video. If you have questions about anything you saw in this video, please feel free to drop those in the comments. And for everybody who supports me on Patreon and YouTube memberships, thank you so much. I love you all. You're the best.